All right, there we are. All right, we are now live. Very cool, very cool. Well, everybody, welcome, and we're gonna have an open discussion tonight. There's a couple things that we're gonna get into. So right now, my mind is still waking up. I was sleeping earlier. I was not awake as early as I wanted to be to get my mind together. So tonight, we were gonna talk about primates in general and comparing primates. But tonight we're gonna be a little bit different. And I'm being messaged by the Squatch Watchers asking if we're live yet. So let me message them through my phone real quick. Yes. All right. All right. So first of all, let me go ahead and get this started. I'm going to run down the panel. I'm looking at my on the panel from left to right. First, we got Baltimore. Baltimore. I know you've been a busy man lately, and I just want to start off, give you the opportunity if you have been out or had time to get into anything, or if you had anything you wanted to share with us.
The only thing that we had was down here like a few weeks ago. There was actually a Bigfoot sighting. Well, they call it. They had a little juvenile show up down in just east of B County, and that's the very first time that I ever heard anybody use the terminology juvenile to describe anything here in South Texas. So, so I thought that was pretty fascinating.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Very cool. Wow. Hold on. I'm looking at something right now, and I gotta say this has got to be this has got to be Taylor's doing. I don't know. From out of nowhere, we just started going live, and all of a sudden we got like 30 viewers right off the bat.
Yeah,
Like,
I sent them over.
wow. Okay. Nice hookup.
They
So,
should have been subscribing too. I think I,
okay.
yeah.
Well, that'd be awesome because the last couple days I've had a decline in subscribers. I don't know what's going on. I was like, what did I do?
YouTube actually sent out an email. They're cleaning out people's like spam subscribers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that happened about a week or so ago, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden, right after that got done, it jumped back up again. Like, okay, so but I usually don't try to pay that too much mind. So,
yeah.
so well, hey, welcome. I'm glad you guys were able to get on, join us tonight. Um, and then also we have Kevin back with us. Zach, I don't know what Zach is. He's got the link. I shared it to him directly. I think he's hiding. Um, so I don't know. I think he crawled underneath the rock for some reason. So um, then Sam was supposed to join us tonight, which Sam looked like he's been MIA all day. His status says he hasn't been active for over 5 hours. So who knows? Um, so we got a good panel right here going on, and like I started off with Baltimore. I want to check in again. Um, Let me jump to Fred real quick. Fred, you've been a busy guy. I know before we went live, you were discussing that you haven't been feeling well, but I know you've been getting out there in the woods lately. Is there anything you want to fill us in on or share with us?
I don't know. Yesterday when I was out yachty hunting, I walked into this one area and I wasn't paying attention. I set my electronic call on the brush pile, and I went back and I sat there and I done my calling for a while. Didn't see nothing or hear anything. And I was starting to look at this. I was looking at the where my recorder was, and I started noticing the broken tree. I'm like, okay, this looks kind of funny, because we had an ice storm here, and I got up and walked over, and I walked over behind it. I got pictures of it on my timeline. I walked over and looked behind it and looked down, and I started noticing. I seen an imprint on the ground. Looks like something was laying in a fetal position. I said, okay. So I went down the tree, and I described it. I said it was hollow, but it was twisted to the right. It was broke and twisted to the right. And I said, well, maybe this tree right here did, Then I started going from the second tree down. Then I noticed everything started to get tied in together behind two particular ones and a maple sucker tree going up, down, and underneath of it. So I stood there for about 15 minutes trying to figure everything, backtracking the way it was made. And when I stood in one position and took a picture,
I'm sorry about that.
You could see a silhouette of something that was laying in a fetal position. You can see the head, around the back. You can see where butt is. You see the way it was laying. You know, it's like like a little child in a fetal position. If it would have stretched out, I'm guessing about 6 foot tall. I reckon. I guess but that's the only thing I've seen. In the past Thursday. But like I said, this year we're going to start getting going. I'm going to go deeper in depth on the way I research through what the Squatches leave behind and through the Native Americans. A lot of people don't understand how I do my research. So I'm going to be going more into detail, showing y'all stuff, describing stuff, telling y'all how to get to the links. There's something we're going to try this year. Now, last year we had people come from the conference to our camp, and everybody saw Squatches around the camp and saw Cuban was standing right out in the open within 20 feet of everybody. All right, this year I'm going to try something different. They're advertising these little teeny cameras that look like little dice. Down you had some at the conference.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, well these are the ones that are advertising like 2 payments of $19.99. They're $39. You can get them at Rite Aid already. I'm going to get about 4 or 5 of them, and I'm going to try to situate them to where maybe I can get some. I don't know, because if you try to use like a monocular and they see that red, they just disappear. I've tried taking a picture of them and I didn't see them for a week. But I don't know why. But this year we're going to try everything possible to try to get photographs of these guys or video of them. We're going to try. We don't know if we're going to do it or not, but we're going to try to get some of something there.
Okay. Well, that's the famous question. I know we talk about that a lot as far as cameras. And I've heard a lot of people opinion and views on camera usage in the woods when it comes to Sasquatch, trail cameras, any kind of cameras. And it seems like there's an equal balance to the ones that say, no, it won't work because Sasquatch knows. And then on the other hand, it's just a matter of time, right place, right time, all the above. To start off, I wanted to ask everybody, because since Fred brought it up, well, first of all, Fred, since you just got on doing that, and that's something you want to try, what's your overall take with you with that? I'll start with you, and then I'll get the next on the.
Last summer, as you know, I went and bought me a Walmart special game camera. All right, we took and set it up across the creek, and we put a jar of honey up and had it up on the limb about 4 foot out, about 8 foot high, and had it where honey was just dripping out of it. All right, I tied it to a mountain laurel bush, and it was straight up like this. Well, we left at 1 o'clock to go to town, to go get something to eat, stuff like that. Get supplies, and when we come back, the camera was cocked. I'm like, okay, did I get something, or did the wind blow it? Because it was just on a limb about big as my middle finger, And we pulled the card and put it on my laptop, and the only picture it showed this Sasquatch up in a tree watching my camp. It was standing on 2 limbs he's probably about 15 foot up, maybe 10. He had his feet sitting on there, and he was looking through a wire watching my camp. So that tells me there was 2 of them there, and one of them messed with the camera, I guess. The only thing, someone told us to try something. Now think about this, guys, everybody. You set your camera up. Say you set, you set it up with some gifts like candy bar or Snickers or something like that, and you go away. You come back a couple of hours later or the next day, you notice you have 3 pictures, or 2 pictures. Okay, the first picture shows you getting the camera set. Then the second one you see, there's nothing there. How did those Squatches get that treat without being seen? Now, can anybody answer that? and I'll tell you how they do it. And someone told me about this, and we tried it. It's actually how they do it. Y'all don't know?
Not me.
Okay, they know a game camera. Believe me, they know it. A guy told me, he said, dust the front of your the camera lens. You know, the little brown spot at the bottom of your camera, or where it takes a picture at. What they do is they come up behind her and they slide their finger over that button, or that little where the camera takes it at, and they get the bait, and then they slide the finger off, and all of a sudden you go click, you got another picture. So one picture you have the bait with you in it. The second picture there's nothing there. So how do they do it? They manipulate
because the raccoon came in and took it, and then people aren't showing that picture. That's why.
No, I'm telling you, hey, okay, that's fine. That's a good answer. But you're wrong.
Squirrel or whatever it is.
Nope.
You got to remember that most people aren't.
You got to remember, Nikki, that if
truthful.
a squirrel does it, the squirrel's you're going to see the squirrel, you're going to see the coon, you're going to see the possum.
I know that. But what I'm saying is that people are not truthful. They will not show you the picture before and the picture after.
Right. But what I'm telling you, we tried it in my area. That's what they do. Then we took some powder and a little like makeup brush, and we found a fingerprint on the lens.
Now, real quick,
think about that.
I see you guys got Baltimore smiling. I want to see if Baltimore's got something to say on this. So,
hey, I gotta go work.
You gotta go to work.
Tenants have no water, so I gotta go work. So, well, I'll tell you like this. I am going to agree with Fred, and I'm going to tell you why. There have been evidence that I've seen where it's not a finger, but it's actually been sticks. Good point. They actually set off the camera that way. If it would be a finger, they will actually show that in the film, show that in a blur or something like that. But I've seen evidence with trail cams where they've actually tapped it, where there's actually they actually tapped it or throw sticks in front of it to try to make the camera go off. But here's the thing: when they snap, once the picture is taken, make sure that you because there's some times that he will actually put a stick or a log in front of it where there was no log there to begin with. And that basically that's where that manipulates. Because I've seen videos where it tried tapping the machine or tried to set everything off. So that's what makes these creatures or animals, whatever you want to call them, so intelligent. Because if you put that trail cam up there, there's sometimes that they're watching us, and then after that, once we leave, they're going to try to figure out, hey, how can I, basically they're trying to figure it out. There's something strange in the living room that they're going to have to figure out for themselves, and that's what they do.
Yeah, because when I set mine up, I had it straight. Well, when I come back, it was cocked.
See, that's why it's good, Fred, to put double camera. Put one in the front and put one in the back or whatever.
When I get the money, I'll do that.
Yeah, when I get some money too, Fred, I'm gonna get some do that myself.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I hate to cut this short. I got some tenants without water, so I got to take care of this right away. So right. I'll talk to y'all later.
See you, buddy.
All right, no problem. Thanks for coming on.
Bye-bye.
All right. Okay. Well, that was interesting. First of all, I want to give you guys a heads up. I'm watching the live chat. We got a lot of people interacting in the live chat, which is awesome. So yeah, if anyone else is watching the live chat, if there's a question or anything I missed, please feel free to interrupt or interview whatever you, and we'll go from there. Because I know a lot of people a lot of people like to have their questions answered, and that's one thing I mentioned on the live chat to the viewers and listeners, whatever, that we love questions. So we'll turn tonight it's like a Q&A, and then we'll discuss it and share everybody's opinion. And because I had one person ask, is tonight a debate. I said, well, it can't. I didn't respond to it, but just to let everybody know, our discussion, our difference in opinions, can easily turn into a debate. So, but we love hearing everybody's different sides and why. So if you share an opinion, definitely like what we've been doing, definitely explain why you feel or believe that way or whatever it may be that we're talking about. So, I wanted Taylor. I know. Is there anything that I might have been overlooking that you wanted to jump in on and say?
No. The guy said, "Why don't you?" Eric McDaniel said, "Why don't you face cameras toward each other? Like, I guess that one tree, like basically how the webcam's facing me, a camera back here facing y'all. Why don't we do that?"
That's a good question. Kind of like almost. Is that similar to like the mirror effect, where I've heard people talking about using a mirror out in the woods?
Yeah. Didn't that guy who died had that little squatch called Squeaky? You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he tried that.
Okay, have you been there, Bigfoot Odyssey? Because he goes to those places.
No, this guy's dead now.
Oh,
No, we hadn't been there, but there was something I thought about. I don't research. You guys do that. We just make films. An idea that I had, and I thought it might work, is that if you have a clan of these things around, they're around. If you can start feeding them, get you a cooler, just a regular 48 quart cooler, bury it in the ground with just the lids up, where just they can open it and get in it and start feeding them. And after a while, just take your game cam, put it inside the cooler. They open it up, and maybe you catch them that way. They're not expecting just the food to be in there. Of course, you'd have to think that they weren't watching you put the camera in there, or hope they couldn't hear it somehow.
Yeah,
but it's an idea. I'd see somebody try that anyway.
That is a good idea.
Yeah. You remember when MK Davis had a video of they tried to do it at nighttime, but the wind kept causing limbs and blood. He put whoever it was down in Texas, they put a cooler on top of a picnic table and tried to video a squatch at nighttime. And I think they had one outside the camera, outside the cooler on the tree, and one in the cooler. But for some reason, the squatch, from the way it sounded, the way MK Davis said it was, he didn't quite get his hand in the cooler. He got aggravated and left, or something like that. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that right across the creek from where our camp is. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm going to try that. That's a hell of an idea.
Well, just put stuff in there, mangoes down. Where do you think they eat?
Yeah.
And you know it's them. If the cooler's getting opened and the stuff's taken, you pretty much know that is them and not some other animal. If the camera over in it, I think you might need to somehow fasten your camera in there. They might take it away from you.
Yeah.
What if you get one of them little dice type cameras and just kind of like laid up in the corner or something? I don't know if they see it. That's an idea.
Yeah. The cameras that Fred's talking about. Has anyone ever used anything like that? Because to me, they're like the perfect looking spy camera. They're a little mini DVR. They're high def. They're about not much bigger than a quarter. And you can buy them. They range anywhere from $10 to $20 online.
The one they advertised on TV, the one for like 2 payments of $19.99 was $39. You can go to Rite Aid and buy them for $39. You only get one camera there. You get a little clip that goes with it. Now you can use it in the day and you can use it at nighttime. The only bad thing about the nighttime, it's got 3 or 4 little lights around the lens.
Yeah, the infrared.
Yeah, that you can see virtually. That'd be the only bad thing about it. But during the daytime, that'd be perfect. It's small; they'll never recognize it because they're used to a big camera.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about those little square cameras too is, you can find a tree. A lot of trees have little crevices and openings, and it'd be perfect to wedge it into a tree off the side of a trail, a game trail, or anything. It's just when I had them, I I didn't have enough time to really experiment with them to where, you know, because to set them up, because there's no indication if they're turned on and not and all this mess. But once you get used to them, I mean, I feel certain that they are a very incredible little device. So let's see. Again, I'm trying to keep an eye on the live chat. So if you see me muted, I'm also listening and trying to browse at the live chat. I'm just now looking here, looking at a random question. I know some of the questions we'll get to, we may be talking about one thing. For those who are new and listening and viewing, do understand our topics on here do get random. We'll switch back and forth with some, you know, so try to bear with us on. I'm looking at a couple questions right off the back here. So if I missed anything, again, guys, please feel free to interrupt. Back and forth with some, you know, so let me see what we got here.
Someone said, "Do you think the truth will be revealed to the rest of the world before Sasquatch die out?"
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I think some of us like to hope so. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope.
That's the idea. I don't think they're going anywhere myself.
No.
Not before we do, anyway.
Yeah.
Daniel. Daniel.
Yeah, Kevin, go ahead.
I have a question for Fred there. Fred, you mentioned that earlier on in when you first started talking about the trail cams. Do you still have a copy of that photo? You said that you had the Bigfoot in it.
No, roughly no, because when we moved and everything, we lost a lot of stuff due to when I was living with my brother. A lot of stuff might come up missing, and apparently my cards were part of it. So I lost a lot of research equipment over my brother's house.
Okay, so you don't have the photo then?
No, but I'm gonna try it again this year.
Okay.
If it works, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I do know that they watch our camp in the daytime when no one's around, or like when we're there, we're sitting there. So we didn't know. We were trying to figure out how they were watching us, because we didn't know, because they was either behind us, there ain't nothing in front of us, unless they sat across the road, but they wouldn't know what we're doing. But everything that we've tried has been across the creek or behind the camp, and they've nailed it every time. Every time. These guys are slicker than a peeled onion. That's what people don't realize about these creatures, you know. They're intelligent, you know, but a clan, like I got 7 clans in my area, you know, and they have day watchers that sentries, if you want to call them that sit all over the place protecting the clan. If you ever watch a show called The Meerkats, how they got their little sentries standing around watching out for danger, that's basically what these guys do. They have sentries that watch it. And since we're human and we're in the camp and we're in our area, they're going to set something, they're going to set them around, they're going to sit around and watch us. That's about the main thing I've learned about the clans in my area.
Someone said, how do you know there's 7 clans in your area?
Well, let's see. I've talked to the guy across the road. He's counted 30 squatches in a year of different height and sizes. He knows where the bedding areas are on his property. And he sees them every night coming in and out, in and out. Because we have them crossing on each side of the road. See, we're just in the right spot. That's the only thing about it. They come across the road on each side of the camp, and all they're doing is going up on a mountain, and they're going hunting. We just happen to be in the right spot at the right time. We know what time. We can tell you exactly what time they're going to start crossing the road. And we can tell you where the guards stand at and everything. We learned how the juveniles belly crawl. The weekend of the conference, we had 6 of them stand right out in the open in front of everybody. Everybody's jaw hit the ground. You know, stuff like that, you know. But we're just in the right spot at the right time. That's all it is, you know. And we just, and I've counted them. Different ones come across the road. Connie counts the ones on the left, and I count the ones on the right. And we count them coming across the road. You know, we're just lucky. We don't plan it like that. It's just the way it is. Because my area in the Shenandoah Valley, they come off and they get, is the birthing area mainly. Because we got more females and juveniles than we do anything else. You know, but we're just in the right spot. That's the only thing it is. We don't plan nothing. We go there, we camp, we have a good time, and we just get lucky and see them. That's it. Yeah. That's how we learn about them, by watching them.
Hey, let's see.
Yeah, I see a couple other questions on there. I wrote down a couple so I don't miss them. Okay. But right off the bat, there are a couple different people inquiring about Fred because they didn't know. One person, I guess, didn't know Fred's name. They said, "What state does a long-haired dude live in?" So,
well, Dan, you could answer that question yourself.
I know, but there's so much activity on the live chat. I but yeah, Fred lives in Virginia. So do I. And also there was another question on there. Oh, they want to know your YouTube channel.
FREDDIE 59100. It's like all one word and one letter. Everything's together. 59100.
All right,
Freddie,
cool.
Freddie 59100. It's all like one thing.
All right, cool. And another question right here. One individual was asking, does Bigfoot have have a human-like face? Anyone can answer this.
All right, the way I've from the photographs I've gotten from what I've seen, you know, in '81 when I had that one step out 5 feet behind me, when I turned around, he looked like a human. Now we have some that look like a human. We have some that look like a flat nose. We got some that looks like a pug. We got some that looks like, you know, the way the eyes are, or the way the eyes are shaped, look like a Chinese. You know, they're all the same creature. You know, the same type of creatures, but they all look different. No two Squatches are the same. Like when Connie got a look at Henry, the 18-footer, she saw a mountain man, human face, long beard, mustache, and about 4.5 foot wide shoulder span. You know, she said he looked like a human. You know,
Fred.
Yes.
I thought you said he was 20 feet.
We have 2 guards on each. We got 1 guard on each side of the camp. Their job is to stand there and wait for let all the Squatches come across. They're 18-footers. They're brothers.
Oh, okay.
The 20-footer was a once in a lifetime thing. As I stated before, we had a phenomenon happening at the camp one night. The very next day, because we went Facebook Live with this, the very next day we got a shaman, a Cherokee shaman from North Carolina called me and said, what y'all saw was a once in a lifetime thing because every tribe in the United States and Canada has seen it at least once in their lifetime. And it is documented through the ancient hieroglyphs.
I'm not doubting what you're saying, Fred. I'm just wondering how you're able to get such precise measurements. Like one is 18 feet, one is 20 feet, one is 7.5 feet.
Well, it's very simple. I'm an arborist, so I learned to use measurement by the limbs on the trees.
But don't limbs grow at different intervals and different lengths?
Well, let's put it this way. 18 foot. I took a tape measure and walked over and we measured 18 foot from that limb where his head is down to where his feet stand. 18 feet.
Oh, okay. So you used a tape measure.
Yeah, we used a tape measure and we did that with the 20-footer.
Oh, okay.
There was one particular limb that he walked under and his head brushed up. The next day we went out there. We documented the very next day we went out there and we measured from that limb to the ground.
Did somebody climb up in the tree and?
No, because it was in the road.
So you stood in the road and extended? No, but yeah. I mean, did you physically extend the tape measure up to that branch or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, that's what we did. Yeah. But what we saw was called through the Native Americans is called the true giants. The only reason they come down low in the valley is because up top, that time of year, it's hot, it's dry, no water at the top. So all the wildlife moves down to the bottom where the food where the food and the water is. And this guy just happened to come down. Because we never thought about, we seen 18-footer, yeah, we knew about them. But when we seen the 20-footer, we never thought we would ever, I never heard of a 20-footer until that night. So, you know, that was a once in a lifetime thing. So I can't, you know, we'll probably never see it again.
Somebody said, how wide was the tape measure?
That's a good one.
My temperature went up to 102. I'm sitting here. I'm on line with you. I got the flu right now. I'm breaking out sweat. You know, but
20 feet is the Hawks. I mean, 18 feet is the Hawks. That's bigger than anything I've ever heard of. That's I don't know how a 10-footer maintains, much less.
Well, here in the Shenandoah Valley, we have an abundance of deer, turkey, all sorts of wildlife, abundance of it. Plus, our area is like mountain laurel out to yin yang, you know, so it hides a lot of wildlife, you know. But they migrate up and down the Appalachian Trail, and they come over to the Blue Ridge Parkway, and they come down and migrate. They come down and they give birth to I found out by my research that a Sasquatch will always come back to where they were born at to give birth, or for where their partners to give birth. And they do this year after year after year. You know, it took me, I've been doing this for 39 years, and it took me about 10 years to figure that out. You know, because I kept saying the same squatches, the same squatches, the same squatches, you know.
Yeah, because I'm looking on the live chat. I think ever since you mentioned, since the 18-footer and 20-footer got brought up, I think you got a lot of people's attention on that. So,
said, Aaron McDaniel said, "I've never got one to stretch out that far without beating a tape measure." These things are like.
Eric McDaniel's on the live chat says, "Fred, were you sitting with Indians when you saw the 18-foot squatch?"
You know, I'm not even going to answer that. I'm not even going to answer that.
That was the question. I thought I'd ask you. Oh wow, we got Gary Johnson on here.
I want to come though that night, one of those nights with Fred, and then because I think we're going to stay like two nights and leave out on Sunday. I'd like to go with both of y'all.
Yeah, like now I'll be speaking at the conference, but we'll be camping at the conference.
Okay, awesome.
So that's about 5 miles from my research area.
That'd be cool.
So
but of course, if they take their video cameras and stuff like that, they're not going to see anything, right?
I can guarantee you that. Because the reason I say that is because when I camped there before I brought Connie down, I took my phone and tried to take pictures of a squatch standing in the shadows. When I did, I didn't see him for a week. Flat out. Because like Paul Halsey, he took a guy into his area, and the guy said, "I'll do what you say." Now, Paul is in the area. He says the squatches have a marking to say that's their territory. He goes in and he sits down and he waits till they come and show up. And he'll sit there and look at them and, you know, just kind of peel on the fire something like that, and he'll get up and leave whatever he wants to. But he brought the guy in and he said, "Now, when I tell you to, I want you to use your peripheral vision and look toward my right." When that guy did, the guy went spasmodic on him. He said, "Oh my God, they're going to kill us." He ran over Paul, and Paul, you know, the guy had a flashlight and everything, and Paul said, "Don't shine the light in her face." Well, when the guy ran over top of Paul, he turned around and hit that Squatch in the face and went like this. The Squatch went like this. Paul said he'd come back the next day, that structure was gone, and he didn't see that clan for 3 months. He said they're still coming back, slowly.
I thought Paul didn't see anything up in your area.
That wasn't my area. We told him, it was in Connie's area in Kentucky. We told him, you put your cameras and everything up, you're not going to see nothing. We had one light in front of my Jeep. That's a central light. All night long, there was a Squatch running back and forth, tripping that light. Because the next day we found footprints going back and forth on the same trail in front of that camera. I mean, in front of that central light all night long. He couldn't get them on thermal, nothing, but all night long that light was going off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on. And you could hear them bump, 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 back and forth all night long.
Fred?
Y'all mentioned the conference. Where is this conference and when y'all have it?
It's no, go ahead, Daniel. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the conference is going to take place in Waynesboro, Virginia, 2019, June 29th. Yeah, it's happening June 29th and actually June 30th. There's possibility we may. Well, I'll share that information later, but I'm waiting on things. But as of right now, yeah, June 29th, June 30th, 2019 in Waynesboro, Virginia. Right here in the Shenandoah Valley. Now, a couple things we're working on, because I know one of my speakers that are coming up, we do plan on doing a night investigation on the 28th, and we're also planning on a week-long camping expedition immediately following the expedition, the conference. So, and which I'm going to work out some details on the expedition. I'm going to start a sign up list. A lot of what I put out there is on Facebook. We do have an official website, so anybody, if you want interested in that, check out this website, the VirginiaBigfootCon.com. I'll be updating that soon. You can get all your current information, anything you need to know through there. Tickets are available on there as well. And one thing too, may I mention, because we're about to enter January, we do have early bird tickets right now, and the prices will go up as of January 1st. So there you go.
Well, that may be far enough away. We might be able to plan that one.
Okay, very awesome. Yeah, it's going to be a great time. Our first event back this past June. Tell you what, it seemed like a lot of chaos putting together. It really was a lot of work and stress, but the turnout is what made it a success for me. I mean, we had well over 300 people for our first time, and we had a great lineup of speakers, the vendors. Everybody got to meet everybody. Everybody fellowshiped together. Stories were told. A lot of interaction with each other. So, and we hope for that and more this year. So yeah, it's going to be a good time. So,
Daniel, could I hop in there for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just got another question for Fred there. Fred, you said that Bigfoots does not appear on camera. Can you clarify?
It's very simple. These guys do not like cameras, period. The flash, you got to expect, they have a black line that runs through from one side to the other of their eyeball. That makes their eyes sensitive because they're the only creatures that can draw light from pitch black darkness. So when you see a flash, it blinds them to a point.
So are you saying that Bigfoots will not appear on camera at all?
I did not say that.
No, that's what I'm asking you.
No.
Okay. Just wanted clarification.
Okay.
All right. Tell you what. All right. Here's another question I've been holding off on, and this is kind of, to me, it's kind of a common question. Then again, I don't know. Everybody feels different on this one. But I thought it was a good question. Do we need a Bigfoot body to prove that they exist, or do we have enough evidence already? Is what the question was. So, and this is for anybody. I don't know, Fred. What's your take on that?
The United States Army Corps of Engineers, 1947, 57, 67, 87, 97, 2007. The United States Army Corps of Engineers acknowledges Sasquatch as being a native species of the take it back. A native species of North America, and yes, the government does have them already.
At one of one.
You remember Mount St. Helen? When it
Oh,
erupted?
yeah.
Okay, there you go. That's where they got them at. Because a news reporter saw them carrying something, about 5 something that was on a stretcher, and it was 4 foot long, and a stretcher on each end. Putting them in trucks and taking them off. So, yeah, the government has them. They know about them. But it's like UFOs. They're not going to release it until they're ready to.
Some of our squad fighters won't see it.
But, you know, to me, evidence, you know, in my mind, 18-inch footprint, tree structure with 2,000-pound trees with the roof off the top should be enough. But I mean, you know, people want that damning evidence. They want the body, and you know, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think there have been. This is just my take. I don't know this for a fact, but you know, I think these things have been shot, and something ends up happening to it. You know, I don't think they're going to listen to that. I think that's what.
I can't hear him.
I'm sorry. That's probably my microphone. I turned it down a little bit. But I think it's been done. I think they've been killed, and something always happens. I think they get taken, and I think that speaks to what these things actually are, as to why they don't. That's a nice cup there, Fred. Also, as to why they don't. Why it's not valid, you know. I'd say.
All right, Taylor. Taylor, you guys, you want to jump in on that or share anything on that one?
I agree with what Bigfoot Odyssey. Is that the name you're under? I think so. Yeah, that's what I agree with what he said. I mean, it's gonna. I think that they know that, but to prove probably for pure skeptics to start believing or whatever. That was the question, right? For people to start believing in Sasquatch to prove their existence. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what it will take, like a silver one sitting on a silver platter. I mean, for non-believers to start believing. Obviously, I think that's what it would have to take. Because people are, it don't matter if someone does go out and video it and high five the thing, everyone's gonna think the video is fake. That are non-believers. It's gonna take I think. I hate to say it, but yeah, I think it's gonna have to take it. A dead body. Someone. Go ahead.
Oh, you were probably about to ask. Ask the same thing because I was looking at. This is why is it a body has never been discovered from people who have supposedly killed them. I'm not really familiar. I don't know who may have killed one.
Nikki Cohen said Men in Black took them.
Yeah.
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 There are Men in Black.
Daniel, I think your microphone or your connection is really bad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crackling.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm trying to redo my wires.
Yeah, I got a cousin who's in the military, and he's trying to get into that unit that he was just talking about.
Can I jump in here on this and on that question in regards to the body?
Yeah, go ahead.
I personally feel that I wouldn't say it's going to have to take a body to prove that Bigfoot or Sasquatch exists. I mean, we have, probably a bad comparison, but I mean, we have very little in the way of elephant skeletons. I mean, we know that elephants will take the remains of their kin, their deceased, and they will carry them away piece by piece and bury the remains, scatter the remains around. So there is a possibility that, Sasquatch will do that with their kin. Take the body and bury it, or put it somewhere where it will decay. There's a natural decomposition that happens out in the wilderness, as we all know. Animals will forage and take pieces from any kind of decaying carcass. When the bones are all that's left, you've got small mice and rodents that'll come along and chew on the bones for the minerals and the calcium. And it doesn't really take that long for bones in that to be completely decomposed and broken down by natural processes.
Yeah, I agree. Because a lot of people, well, I guess a lot of people are not really familiar with natural, causes and effects. In the study of taphonomy, the process of death and the decomposition process and all the other stages that follow. But that's one thing I have also spoke on, and I agree that I believe, just like there's other animals and other species out there that know, because I believe it's a natural instinct. There's something in them where they know they're getting ill and they know their time of death. Like, looking for example, I've brought this up numerous times. Bears are good examples. We could look at mountain lions, any major apex predator that especially here on the East Coast, when we look at mountain lions, that they there's people that see them, and there's a lot of eyewitnesses to them, but yet there's a lot of people believe that we don't have them because of that. The department says that they are not here.
Exactly.
So with that being said, it's very rare if anyone was to come across the remains of any of these apex predators that have died of natural causes. So there's a number of factors that we got to look at if we're going to compare wildlife with Bigfoot, which I feel that I most commonly do. So when it comes to the natural order of death, you got to look at these apex predators. Where do they go? What happens to them when they die? These are things that you got to ask yourself and also consider, because a bear will go off on its own. They'll find a hidden den or a cave, and a lot of people don't realize that they'll use more than just they don't always use a cave. There's a lot of fallen timber in the forest that they'll actually use for both denning and hiding in. That's why when I go in the woods and I see a big, massive uprooted tree that's been down, and it looks like it could be, it could provide shelter or any kind of cover, I always take extreme caution when approaching those areas, because I always want to explore them and check them out. But you don't know if there's something hiding there, something resting there, whatever it may be, because actually you're seriously taking a risk when you're approaching some of these areas. Because a lot of people, again, they don't realize that bears, mountain lions, they'll use these for shelter. So again, when an animal dies, such as a bear, just like what Kevin mentioned, again, I agree with that full-heartedly. That you got all the other critters when the body breaks down to the bones, and you got the skeletal, it's not but down to the skeleton. Yeah, there's bone marrow. There are a lot of proteins and stuff in there where all the other rodents will take and eat away and scatter, and then over a period of time, nature does its, adds more to it. Natural blankets of the earth with a leaf litter, and then through a period of time, moss forms and covers the bones. And a lot of times you could be walking in the forest and never know that you're trampling over, bones. Especially old bear. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Daniel. I'll let you finish there. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. That's pretty much about it.
Okay. I think it also has to do with numbers too. I mean, if you've the Bigfoot population is for North America has been estimated anywhere from 5,000 to 30,000, and I think it has to do with numbers. I think it has to do with with the amount of Bigfoots that are out there, or Sasquatch, and when you've got a low number, you're less likely to find bodies of anything. I mean, it's just simple math.
I can try if I could say a little something about that. I mean, I can definitely track with that, Kevin. But if we assume that Sasquatch is aware of themselves enough to know to hide from us, why would they leave one of their dead out for us to find anyway? You know, that's kind of how I see it. If they're that intelligent and they know they don't want to be seen, one of their family members dies, I just don't see them leaving them out for us to find.
Unless, of course, your name is Rick Dyer. And you've shot 5 or 10 of them in the last, as many years.
Yeah.
You brought up a good question. I'm sorry, I don't know your name with the Under Armour hat on.
Odyssey.
You brought up a great question because I truly have a hard time understanding how self-aware they are. But if they can put their finger over the lens of a camera, or if they can stay out of the range of a camera, or understand that somebody's pointing something at them, I would believe that they have enough of a conscience or enough to be self-aware to bury their dead or eat their dead.
Yeah, I'll waste it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people believe that's a possibility that they do eat their dead. They can be cannibalistic. If we're comparing them, like, all right, I know a lot of people. There's a lot of new people here, so I'll fill you in. When it comes to Sasquatch, I have this habit, and part of my research and my study to get a better understanding is I like to compare Sasquatch to our known primates. Again, I'm not making them equal to a primate, but I believe they share a lot of similar traits and behaviors. Hold on one second. There we go. So yeah, there's been some rare observations where primates have been known to bury their dead. It's been very rare. And they, primates do mourn the loss of their members in various ways. Usually they cling on to them, they'll drag them around until they're ready to throw them off or whatnot. There's been other species that supposedly been known to cover their dead, but then again, primates have been known to be cannibalistic. They'll eat their own. So why not Sasquatch? If people believe that he's human, there's been cannibalistic humans. So why not? There's different ways we can look at this and still say that, yeah, that's a strong possibility. So I don't see why we can't rule that out. So
has anybody had any experience? This is going to sound somewhat funny, but has anybody heard or experienced any kind of turd flinging from Bigfoot? That I know that sounds funny, but bear with me. That is a common trait amongst gorillas and monkeys and baboons, where they will actually take their hand and they'll shit in their hand and they'll fling it. So as funny as it sounds, I mean, has anybody come across that? Is that anybody want to weigh in on that?
We get rocks and like dirt sometimes. As crazy as that sounds, people think that we're crazy when we say that, but we get you can hear pebbles hitting, and David and them were on like a golf cart one night, and it's all on video of the actual dirt clob hitting the side of the top of the golf cart and scattering all over them, but not feces.
I think I heard a researcher tell me that he would go in to his area the same way every time. And going in one day, he was probably about 60 feet tall, finds crap in a V of a small tree right in his eye height, right where he could see it. He said it smelled like a god to the there, the difference in animals and us. And how that would get 6 feet up the tree right where he goes in every time. And that's just what I was told. As far as it being wrong, I don't know. I would probably, if that happened to me, I would probably just have some kind of warning.
Keep hearing feedback.
I think somebody's got their radio going or something.
Yeah, it's background TV or something. All right, Taylor. I see on the live chat you were talking about Eric's question. Are you referring to the one about the lines in the eye?
Yeah, I was gonna that way because I didn't want Fred to get mad at me for reading all the questions over there. I was going to let one of y'all ask for it. No, he won't think I'm like trying to debunk him and stuff like that. I was just.
All right. All right, Fred. There's a question on here from the Mr. Eric McDaniels. So, Fred, how do you know about the lines in their eyes?
Well, when they get close enough, when they're all right, each color of the eye is a mood. From what I've learned, the white eyes are playfulness, because we see that in the juveniles. But when you get within 8 to 10 feet from one, you can see the black line going right through the eye, and that is what helps draw the light at nighttime. Now the colors, white means playful, yellow means curious, yellowish orange means curious but nervous, emerald green means totally relaxed, and red means pissed off. And the only way we know that is because what we learned by watching them around the camp at nighttime. Because a lot of times you can't see the bodies, but you can see that. You can see their eyes when they're walking, because they have a tendency to walk and look at you and go like that real quick, you know. And the juveniles are curious by nature anyway. That's why I tell people, if you want to learn about an adult, watch the juveniles, because everything that they do, they have been taught by the adults and everything. So we learned that, you know, and you know, it takes time to learn something like that, you know, but we learn by watching them while they do their thing. That's the reason we have my campsite right there at that spot, because we're lucky that they cross right there, you know. But the color of the eyes, that black line in their eyes, you know, because it took, you know, we seen it. I didn't pay attention to it until we saw a car go down the road, and his eyes went from white to yellowish orange, and then he ran behind the camp, getting away. Moving.
Yeah, I do believe their eyes vary, especially depending on the type of light that's being projected into their face. I mean, I've heard various different opinions on that too, but depending on the type of light you're using, like certain headlamps have most modern new headlights got lumens, and you know, the lumens I think project, you know, different, you know, I don't know. That's what I've heard. I don't know the truth behind much of that. But.
The bottom line is, when 90% of the animals in our woods, the only way you're going to see their eyes is if you hit them with a light. Now, light produces a UV ray. Now, if you think about this, I'm a coyote hunter. I'm a predator hunter. When I go out, I use a colored lens, because red, green, or blue, or yellow. What that does, it takes the UV rays out of the light. So that means I've had bobcats come running in and bounce off my boots, you know, because UV rays are out. But the Sasquatch, as you notice, you're in the woods by yourself, or people have said they have seen yellow, perfect marbles watching them and follow them. And there's no light. They generate their own light because they can draw light from pitch black darkness. They're the only creature that can do it. It could be a full moon, or it could be a cloud in the sky. It'd be so black you can't see your hand in front of your face, but you will be able to see their eyeballs when they look at you, and it's like two perfectly round marbles.
Interesting. Yeah, I wanted to first of all say hello to Jimmy. Jimmy, you've been sitting in for a little while, and I'm sorry if I seem to ignore you, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to jump in there, and if there's anything you've heard that you want to throw in anything in like your opinion or thoughts, or please feel free to do so. So I don't know if he's there. I thought he was still there. So Jimmy Bland. Maybe he's muted or stepped away. So
somebody brought up a question there in chat. Let me see if I can find it here. Question for Fred comes from Casp or something. Do you think skin or fur color mimics our own human skin color, i.e., black?
They're
Hold on. I'm not done.
Oh,
I
okay.
got to read the whole thing here. So it says, do you think that skin fur color mimics our own human skin color, i.e., black Sasquatch equals Negro people and white Bigfoot equals white people?
Okay, when I had that encounter in 1981, the Squatch was a brownish gray. All right, and all the Squatches I've seen, their hair on their arms is actually thin. It's the they do have different colored skin. That's something I have noticed about them. And the longer the hair is, now when you see them at a distance, their hair looks mega thick. But when you see them, say within 40, 50, 60 yards, you notice that you can see more skin than you can hair. Because their hair is not fur, it's hair just like ours.
But do you feel that that comparison is the same in the Sasquatch world as opposed to
Humans?
the humans?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So you feel that black Bigfoots are equal in as far as I don't want to say genetically, and this is
black, gray, cinnamon blonde, reddish brown, orange colored, if you want to call it that. You know.
Right. But what I'm saying is, do you think that genetically, and this is not a race, I want to be clear on this. This is not a racist or race question that I'm repeating here from, it's kind of intrigued me. So what I'm saying is, do you think that black Bigfoots are the same as Negro people in the human race, and that white Bigfoots are the same as white people in the human race?
Sounds like a question to me.
Does anybody else want to weigh in on this?
I won't have an opinion about it. The only comment I wanted to make was it does sound like a race question. I mean, I don't know. I've heard of them having slanted eyes. I mean, would you equate that to a Chinese person? I don't know.
No, that's not what I meant. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, I don't think it's the same. I mean, it's not a race question. They're just like us. We have black people, we have white people, we have dark tan, we have hybrids like albinos. We got, because I went to school with like 8 albino children, and they got pink eyes and everything. It's not a racist question to a point. But they are like us. They walk like us. They do speak an ancient language, a dialect language. They do have vocal cords. The males have everything. The males have what humans have. The females have the same thing a female human has.
To be clear, I wasn't calling it racist. All I was saying was that it's equatable. They're trying to equate it to race.
Right.
Different races of Sasquatch. Is it equatable somehow?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Right.
Maybe the better question is what types are there or subtypes?
Well, I've seen ones with conical heads, and I've seen one with heads shaped like an Egyptian. 2 kinds in my area. Now, I talked to Sharon Day. She said the ones with the oblong head, like the Egyptians, are the cannibalistic squatches compared to the ones that's got the conical head.
What does an Egyptian mean? What do you mean by the head? I don't understand.
All right. In Egypt,
elongated.
Elongated. There you go.
So
is that natural or is it not natural? I cannot tell you that. But we do have ones with elongated skulls, and we got the ones with the conical skulls that I've seen in my area. Sharon Day, I told her about it. She said the ones with the elongated skulls are the cannibal ones. Those are the ones that come into my camp at one night and blew out my fire in my pit. And I can't figure out for the love of this world how they did it.
Yeah, according to Brian Forrester, he's an archaeologist. And, his study with the elongated skulls, there's a majority of them are actually unnatural, where they were formed that way from birth. When they were young, when they were born, their heads are bound, and they're formed over that way. But they actually, through one of his their discoveries and their research with DNA studies, according to what he's found, that some of them were actually born that way. Come to find out, there was a small race of people that were different from the others, but I don't want to get too much into that because I don't have the details in front of me. But I was trying to pay attention to some of that, where they actually found that some of them were actually naturally born that way, and there was a small race of people there that supposedly died off over a period of time. So, or that were actually killed off. So I don't know. That's something you can check into. Check out Brian Forrester's work. He's got a lot of incredible stuff with his studies and with Persia and all the different work that he does. So,
well,
but don't hold me to that. Some of the information I just quoted, it could be slightly inaccurate, but pretty much what I've observed and read from what he's put out there. Yeah, some of it's natural, some of it's not.
Yeah.
So
well, it's like Scott Carpenter. He's got videos, from, as you know, he puts a camera facing behind him. He's gotten some of them. He's got one or two that look like a human that's got some kind of disease, kind of like patches of hair here and there, that looks human. When he was walking down a trail one day, and his battery went dead on his camera, so he decided to change it. He looked up something called a movement up on his left-hand side, and he cut his eyes up, and it was a little juvenile squatch. Now, he said when he took his eyes off it for just a split second to put the battery in his camera, he looked back up, and this is exactly what he said. He said, "I'm not being rude, but I could see it looked like a little human boy, and I could see his genitals bouncing while he running up that hill." He said he looked exactly like a human boy, but yet he had thin hair on him. So, and he's got video of elongated skulls on them too. And this is in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee that he's catching them in, So, yeah, there are tribes that do have it, unlike what Daniel said, like there are certain tribes that do, when their kids come out, that they do bounce their head to elongate it. But yet on the other hand, there is different tribes or different species, as far as humans go, that are born with elongated skulls.
Fred, are you saying that there's Bigfoots in Egypt? Or are you saying that?
No. I am saying that here in America, everybody I've talked to has described two different squatches. One's with the elongated skulls, and one's with the conical head. Sharon Day tells me the ones with the elongated skulls are the carnivores of the bunch. They will kill and eat any kind of meat, no matter what it is. That's what she told me about them. And I've seen, Connie got pictures of two of them one time. And then that night, when I right outside my tent, I found two knuckle marks, and each knuckle was wide as two of my fingers outside my tent. But it's really hard to say. I'm not saying that they're whatever. I'm not saying nothing like that at all.
I don't understand how people would say they were more human than others. I mean, that's kind of what I believe. Hooded nose, human-shaped hands, human-shaped feet. I mean, there's no divergent toe going on there. They think it's a guy. So, I mean, that's just kind of my take, my observation. Is I think they're more human than ape.
Yeah. Well, what people don't know is when you hear that samurai chatter, if you take a samurai chatter and slow it down, the more you slow it down, you start to hear language, an ancient dialect language. Now, most people don't know that we have 90 plus extinct native languages in the United States. The last tribe to go extinct in the language was the Chumuckum tribe on the northern peninsula of Washington State. Their tribe disbanded in 1902, but the language was used till 1940s. After that, the language dissipated. Then you got the Trail of Tears. Their language dissipated. I've learned, and I found out in my area, the Cherokees. When I started slowing it down, I started hearing the language, and what I looked up was OCOEI, Niha, which means hello, I'm your friend, and I mean you no harm. And I say, Ihina means thank you, you know. But when I start speaking like that, I'm speaking the ancient dialect language, the old language of the Cherokees. And that's what people don't think about, you know, because if you slow it down, you start recognizing that language. You figure out which tribe is in your region, then you look up the ancient, the dialect language, and you'll come across a link that teaches you the dialect language, like they say, like the shamans and the elders teach or speak, or used to speak, you know, stuff like that. You know, and you find out because I get a lot of response when I say OCO Ia Neha, I get responses. So that tells me that they recognize what I'm saying and they respond to it. Because I took my girlfriend, when my wife appeared up the road one day to a place, she took a picture of a little female squatch. Hour later, we were coming out and she heard the word Ia, Ia. It sounded like a little girl. We're 5 miles back up in the mountains. That little female squatch said Ia, which means I'm your friend. So she spoke in dialect language, but people don't understand because other words, it's like walking into a Japanese fish market, and you hear them talk about 100 miles an hour. You take that and slow it down. Just keep slowing it down, and you will hear an ancient dialect language. Now that's what I've learned. I don't know about anybody else.
Fred, did you say that your girlfriend took a picture of a little Bigfoot?
Man, I got pictures on the wall of a baby Sasquatch. You want to see it? You want to see it?
That's not what I asked. I just asked.
Yeah, she took a picture of a little Sasquatch, and I took pictures of little Sasquatch. You want to see a picture?
Not really. I just asked if I asked for clarification.
I want to see the picture.
All right.
Hell yeah, I want to see one.
This is the one we had at the this is the one we had at the conference, man. Let me try to get it. Right here. I can't bring it to.
All right, hey, try to hold, Fred, hold it up a little bit. Yeah, there's a glare from the light on it.
All right, let me see here.
Or the screen.
Let me put my finger right here.
I can see what the eyes. It looks like really.
Yeah, it's a baby Sasquatch. You know where I got it at? I got it off the video that I made of that squatch with her back to me. She was at the bottom of the ridge at the other end of a log. This little squatch here was no more than 3 foot tall. And I got one picking up behind a tree. I got one looking out under a log. Daniel, here's one that Connie got right there. Well, let me see. Well, right here. This is the one Connie got right here of one looking out from a tree. And Daniel did a mirror image. Look good.
Hold on. Yeah, you're gonna move it over.
All right. Where's my finger at? Where's my finger at? Right here. And that's what it looks like right there. Mirror image. Now here's the juvenile again, right here. This is the little juvenile squatch right here.
Okay.
That's a baby Sasquatch.
See, like sometimes you have to take to effect a lot of things, especially for the area that I'm at. Because there's actually have been reports that there's actually monkeys that have actually been reported seen up and down the creeks. I had maybe like around 10 reports of monkeys that have actually been down the creeks. You know, that could and then that could actually can be interpreted as being a juvenile Sasquatch. But I haven't seen them personally. I don't know how they sound in the wild or anything like that, or the screens or anything like that. And I have to take that into consideration. because out there you just never know what you're going to find out there. Because right now we have elk that are running up and down the creek beds that has been escaping from areas, and they actually making certain whistling sounds themselves. So we can, and then I can't say, well, that's a whistle that I heard from a Sasquatch. It could be possibly be from these elks that are actually walking down these creeks. Sometimes we have to take into consideration about, hey, there's something else out there besides a Sasquatch or anything like that that makes certain noises that I'm not too familiar with. And also, too, down here in South Texas, jaguars are making a comeback. I don't know what sounds they make at night, but I have to come. And that's what comes into being aware upon what these animals, the sounds that they make at night. So all of that. I think that's why we have to be more out there. And I'm not saying spend 100%, like 95% of your time in the woods, or go out there every evening or anything like that. Because during the seasons, animals migrate and they have certain different sounds. And that's why you have to go out there to check and to identify. It's like birders. They'll come up there and they say, okay, that's a mockingbird. Okay, that's a cardinal, just by the sounds of the songs that they make. So we have to be aware exactly what is out there, what's actually in our surroundings, in order for us to be 100% sure and to identify what's actually out there, instead of calling it, hey, that's the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
We have to be uh, uh, that's why we have to be so much aware of what's out there, because you just never know what's out there.
How
You know,
many?
because something might escape out there that that we don't know about. A lion could escape out there, or we just never know, because people have strange pets and bring pets from other countries down here. They could even bring monkeys and that escaped, and nobody's going to tell them, hey, one of my monkeys escaped.
How many exotic ranches do you have in your area?
Oh, so many, hundreds.
That's probably why then.
Yeah.
Because I went through Texas. When I drove a truck, I had to go through Texas, and it seems like it's an eternity to go from one town to another. But I ain't never seen so many exotic ranches in my entire life in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But I never stopped at any of them.
They even have those huge, oh my gosh, now I can't think of the name. That big antelope. What's that big African antelope?
The one Ted Nugent likes to kill on his property.
Yeah, they have people go out there and new, or the GNU, the new, and the something else.
Yeah.
And they have huge ranches with those exotic animals that you can go shoot here.
Right. See, the thing is, again, these animals could escape, and emus have escaped. There's so many different animals that has actually escaped. But the thing is, again, here's the thing is so when you go down the creeks and you hear those deep breathing sounds, and you hear certain things that that these certain animals don't that certain animals don't make, or the certain like if somebody actually got a Louisiana slugger and slammed it against a tree, saying, hey, that's not right. That's especially when you're in an area where there's like when you're miles away from people and you hear this, and you come up there going, all right. And then so that's when the thing is, again, you go down these creeks and everything like that, no tracks, nothing. So that's why it's always good to be there's another thing too that I kind of that I'm doing this year that's a little different. And one of them pro cameras that you actually I'm actually going to get. I actually got one for Christmas. My fiance gave me that, so I'm going to have that in front and back, like that. I could actually see what I see in front or see what I see in back. Because the thing is, again, if there's something moving down in the creek areas, I could actually maneuver my camera in order for me to catch it. So.
Yeah, because me and Daniel, we come up with an idea when we was working with game cameras. We make a little bracket to stick down in our backpacks, and we could have the cameras, the GoPros facing behind us while we're walking, so we can see what's behind us. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that works great. Like what Fred's talking about, like I have a ruck. I have two different backpacks, but I have the rucksack where it has the bar, the frame on it, the bar, which that works out great.
Yeah.
Fred actually rigged something up which works great too, where it slides. He could just put it inside of his backpack. And Fred came up with a nice little maneuver when it comes to the GoPro facing behind you.
Now I videoed something one day up in Vesuvius, and the only bad thing about it was so far away. But we caught a cryptid come out from underneath the log we walked over, and it went to the left, picked up a deer, threw it over his shoulder, went across the trail, and he stopped and turned and looked at us. But it's so far away you can't really, you can see the brown and the white of the belly of the deer, but you can't see what that cryptid is, because when it come out, it went like this right over the log looking at us. We was about, say, about 100 yards away from it, and the only thing that caught it was that GoPro. And we tried to zoom it in, try to clear it up, and it's just too pixelated. So the only thing we can say, it's a cryptid, but what kind? We don't know. But it had a deer on its shoulder. We do know that. But as far as zooming it in, no way.
Fred, what did you say? Did you say Vesuvius?
Yeah. Vesuvius. Here in Virginia, there's a town that I lived in 1969 and 71, had the big massive flood come through.
Okay.
Yeah, the area he's actually talking about, I have not officially been there, but I've heard a lot of stories and reports from that area.
I'll take you there if you want to go one day.
Yeah, I hear it's a pretty squatchy looking place from because I know a buddy of mine, he's an Iraqi veteran, and yeah, he went hunting there, and he's never seen a squatch, but he was hunting up there alone, and he knows nobody else was there, and he had a large rock thrown right in front of him one time while hiking up some trail up there.
Well, basically, if you go in up there behind the edge camp and you follow it straight, it brings you right into St. Mary's Falls, the back end of it, the roughest part of it, and that's one place I stay out of.
Yeah, I've heard a couple mixed stories about the St. Mary's area. Fred, you don't mind if I put you on the spot again, do you? Because there was something I was asked to ask. It was regarding the language. I know you were speaking about it earlier, and I've kind of got lost listening to everybody else. But the language got brought up. Could you explain to everybody about the language? Because I know Nikki's probably quiet, but I know she has a different opinion on that. And as far
Nikki has her own opinion.
So I'm sure maybe she'll jump in. But anyone else is welcome to too. But I thought it would be fair enough if you could explain to everybody about what you had observed through hearing, and as far as language and how you come to learn about the language.
Okay, everybody. Ron Moorhead, for one, in the Sierra Mountains, he picked up, and this would give me the idea. He picked up some language. In other words, he was hearing ooh-ah, he's hearing ooh-ah. But I took one of the sounds because MK did it, so I slowed it down beyond what MK Davis did, and I picked up a language. So I figured I'd try it in my area. So I took some of the recordings that were sent to me, and I slowed them down. And the more I slowed them down, I started recognizing that there was a language that they were speaking. So I said, well, what the hell, let me try it. So I went to the ancient dialect language of the Cherokees, the old language, the dialect. And I looked up the word, and I spelt it the way it sounded to me, O-C-O-E-I-N-I-H-A. And I put them together, and it says, hello, I'm your friend, and I mean you no harm. Now, I picked that up by slowing it down and recognizing it was a native language. But at first, I'm like, well, maybe it might be a modern language. So I looked that up and nothing matched. But when I started looking up the ancient dialect language of the Cherokee, all you got to do is go to the internet and look up Cherokee ancient dialect language, the old language. And that's what I did. And that's when I started learning. I'm still learning the language. But I use what I use there, and I get responses. Not every time, but I get responses. But if you take and slow it down, whatever tribe, North Carolina has Cherokees in it, and another tribe, I think, I'm not sure. But whatever area you're in, look up and find out what native Indians was in your region, say 1,000 years coming forward, okay? And find out and look up the ancient dialect language. Copy it or whatever, save it. Then when you get a recording of samurai chatter, take what you listen to it, take certain parts of it, slow it down, like 25, 50, 65, 70, 80, 90%. You know, just slow it down until you can hear what sounds like language. And then find something that you recognize, like syllables and stuff, and write them down, and then go back to that ancient dialect language and compare them to what sounds like that. And then you find out that's what they're speaking. Then you go and you practice. Then you go out and just out of shits and giggles, like what I did when I learned. I went out there and said, "OCO, iya, niha." 5 minutes later, crack.
I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy, I hear you.
Dying for a long time trying to get through, guys. I apologize.
Oh no, you're fine. Glad to have you on, man. Yeah. Yeah, if you wanted to jump in or throw anything in on anything we've been discussing, please feel free. But real quick, I wanted to mention, Fred, you mentioned you had brought up the Sierra Sounds. I know, I believe it's safe to say everybody's pretty well familiar with that. Is there anybody on the panel not familiar with the Sierra Sounds?
1976.
Yeah.
Baltimore. Matter of fact, Ron Moorhead was selling them in those books that he had down there.
Yeah.
I bought the book, but I've never ever opened that book and looked at it yet. I just listened to the sounds.
Yeah. One thing I do know about the sounds, I know for those who are familiar with Mr. I'll make sure I say the name correctly here, Scott Nelson, which is he retired Navy linguist, who's actually that was his profession. His expertise is basically, I forget the best way to word that, but discovering language. And then everybody knows the story behind how he got involved with the Bigfoot, the sounds of samurai chatter and everything else. It was all based off of. Make a long story short, it was based off of. It got started when his son was doing a school project, blah blah blah, and then he heard something that got him intrigued, and but to do along, again, I'm trying to not to drag it out, but. He got into studying the Sierra Sounds, which, for those who have heard and listened to the various sounds from Sierra, it is a samurai chatter, and he's done extreme studies on that, and just based on his findings, of course. Now this is coming from Scott Nelson. He did not find anything known. He has discovered that it was some type of language based off of. Breaking it down, he had found that there were syllables. There were syllables in there, and he believes it is some type of language, but quoted from him, unknown to us or to humans. So, I guess with that being said, I believe it's a language that they have of their own. Because
Do you want me to play it, Daniel?
Oh, if you have access, go ahead. Please feel free.
I have it up right now, but let's see if you can hear it. Hold on.
Am I right?
Is that number 1 or number 3? That's Ron Moorhead.
Number 1.
Okay. Go to number 3. Go to number 3.
That one sounded like you said Richter reload.
Yeah, because Ron was mimicking them, and they were responding to a point. See?
Now this is them talking back and forth with them.
Right.
So anyway, just so if anybody out there didn't know what we were talking about.
Yeah, those recorded, and what Nikki just played, that was just a very small part of what they have in the TS sounds, and it's very intriguing. If you get a chance, go to Ron Moorhead's website, or you can actually purchase a copy of the recordings. He sells copies. He has an audio book. You can get all that information, and I mean, it is very intriguing. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, we don't know what the heck it's saying, but it's cool stuff, man. So, but
real quick, I'm gonna have to bow out. I got the wife waiting on me. Absolutely enjoyed it. Thank you for having me on the big all weekend. I'll sub to you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Taylor, for inviting me on here, man. I'll give me a shout when you get a chance, please, sir.
Oh, well, we will. We'll link up.
Very, very interesting, very informative conversation, guys, and I appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you for coming on. I'll be sure to definitely subscribe to you then. So,
absolutely, man. We appreciate it. Y'all take care.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Bigfoot Odyssey.
Cool.
So be sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel. So, all right. So yeah, there we go. We're getting into the talking about the language and everything. And again, we were just listening to a small part of the Sierra Sound, which is awesome. But here's an open question for everybody. Baltimore, I'm looking at my panel from left to right, and Baltimore is the first one on the end on looking at my panel. Baltimore, what's your take on the language? Bigfoot speaking.
What's my take on the language?
Yeah.
I think it varies. I think it varies on the region, and also too. I think that it's like us when we grow up as children. That they when we come into this world, if our families are Mexican, they'll come over here and talk to us Spanish. They don't talk to us English. They talk to them. The way that they understand. And even if, let's say, if these young juveniles are actually seeing little kids playing, and they fall down, for example, they'll probably say, "Uh-oh," so they'll come up there and they'll pick up the word "uh-oh," or somebody, he will see another person look at a tree and call it and say "tree." And Bigfoot could come up there and mimic that as well. Hey, tree. There's even stories where even Bigfoot have actually, people would actually call their dogs by their names. Let's say, for example, Spot. There's sometimes people have actually heard something in the woods come up there and say Spot. And then I think they come up there and, to the areas that they're at, they basically pick up words. And then, so, even when they speak to each other, I think they have their own private communication things like that. They could understand within their community or their tribe, because they have been, I kind of feel that it's like us growing up. We have our grandparents or our mothers or fathers or our grandparents and everything like that, and then so they teach them certain words. And I'm thinking right down there is how they can communicate with each other with these certain words that they own for themselves to understand, not for us to understand it, but for them. That's why that's the way I believe that's the way that they communicate. Until we actually find a way how we could figure out exactly what they are saying to each other, that's the best mystery in itself. We'll never find out until we go out there and actually record these certain sounds and trying to figure out exactly what they're trying to say to each other.
Very cool.
I've had sightings where they have been known to use hand gestures when hunting. And it would be cool to actually sit and observe that for yourself. And it ties into the language too. A lot of cultures, I believe a lot of their first language was a type of sign language.
See, that's what Native Americans did. When we went hunting, we did bird sounds. We came up there and we communicated with our hands. We did certain things. We did our own sign language. We did certain things with our fingers in order for us to communicate with each other. To attack or even go hunting. I mean, there's certain things that we did together as a group, and even when we were in war, we communicated with each other by certain bird sounds or anything, and certain bird sounds and everything, and also communicated with our hands through pebbles to each other, to get each other's attention, and try to be as still as possible into these woods. That's why, for us, it's the, Bigfoot, the garden of the forest. Fred, wake up. And, but other than that,
we're under temperature, man, of 101 right now.
But that's, I kind of feel that, that Bigfoot is actually, has a lot of Native American teachers in it. Because the Native American Indians and Bigfoot, these people, lived in the woods for a very long time before the Europeans showed up. So.
Can I weigh in on this, Daniel?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can jump in. You don't have to ask.
I personally think that there is a language between Bigfoot. And I know they're also very good and very capable of mimicking other animals and also our speech. There was an interesting study that was done by R. Scott Nelson, who's a cryptolinguist, formerly worked for the U.S. Navy. And he's done an extensive study and breakdown of the Bigfoot language. I don't know if you guys are familiar, the other panel members are familiar with him or not.
You talking about Scott Nelson?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I brought him up a little while ago. Yeah.
But I've had a chance to look at his research. It's pretty involved. It's I would say it gives a lot of credibility to the theory.
Someone said it's the burping dude.
What's that?
Someone said it's the burping dude.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, that was last week. I had my microphone turned on. And I thought it was off.
Yeah, Kevin, you got a reputation now for yourself here.
Oh well.
Well, hey, at least they're recognizing you. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Get familiar with our panel members. Well, I'm glad everyone's having fun. So, Zach, about time you made it in. I don't know you found a way to get on from underneath that rock. So, well, what's up with you? I don't know how much you've been listening in on. If you wanted to jump in and share anything on from what we've been discussing tonight.
Setting up my 2 new game cameras I got tonight. Getting ready for this new project I'm getting ready to launch.
You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, it's going off of a BFR report that we got in our area down in Jackson County, an area called Little Grassy Lake down by McCann, Illinois, and I had a feller. He did some work for me. And he he went and did what Stacy Coughlin did, some map dowsing for me. And what that is, it's kind of like it's a little woo, but it's not all the way woo. It's basically it's like dowsing for water. It's a lost art, and he is doing that for me. And he said that he got a hit on 7 Bigfoot in the area where we're going to be going at. And he said that not only that, but there's a dog man that's on the other side of the lake that's actually killed a person.
Ooh. Hmm.
And I looked it up, and there's actually been a murder that happened out there not too long ago. Actually, it was earlier this year it happened. He told me, he said that that this thing actually stalks humans and everything, and it's 17 years old from what he found out. And so what he told me was that I'm sorry, I'm kind of tied up in this, but he went and he told me, he says that that thing has been there in that area for 17 years, making it his territory. Well, in that same area where this dog man is over by Pirates Cove is the same place where we went camping with the Boy Scouts whenever I was younger. And back, I think in about 2002, 2003, we was camping in this area, and my mom said she saw a very large wolf in our camp. And something was brushing up against the edge of the tent that we was in. And so she put 2 and 2 together whenever I showed her where this was. And it's just not even a quarter mile from where we was camping at, from where this thing's den is. So that's something that we're going to be looking into. And we're starting the Little Grassy project here in January. I've already got a team of local researchers along with the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters that's going to be joining me on this project. And hopefully we can find a lot of good stuff and everything. And I'm investing in all this new equipment for this project. So hopefully it delivers.
Well, that sounds pretty cool, man. That sounds very cool. Definitely wish you the best on all that. Definitely keep us informed. Tell you what, I haven't seen really any new questions on the live chat. Let's see. Does anyone have anything they want to share, or anything that they want to throw out there? Because we'll be coming to a close soon. But before we do, before I let the panel have it, I want to give all the new listeners on here, just to give you guys a heads up, every Friday night, right here on this YouTube channel, we are continuing our episodes, so open to discussions. Sometimes we do screen shares and discuss various topics, pictures, even some videos. We'd like to share everybody's opinion and thoughts on that. We'd like to try to debunk things if all possible. But again, yeah, keep in mind, every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we go live 9 p.m. Right here. And if you guys want to check out too, every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Zach Sterick hosts a new podcast show. It's called Geek Squatch, and that is on his YouTube channel, the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters. So please check that out.
But they talk a lot about wrestling.
We'll switch it up.
and you go and you shoot at 8-ball too.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll try to switch it up, right, Zach? I'm sure there's plenty of other things we can get into. So
I've got a lot to talk about. It should be pretty good.
Nick,
yeah.
If you ran the Geek Squatch channel, what would you want to talk about?
What would I want to talk about?
Trying to get her in there.
I don't watch wrestling, that's for one thing.
Would you talk about cooking and cleaning and stuff, or just...
Oh, heck no. No, I like to talk about 80s stuff that had to do with the 80s and how we grew up back then versus now type of stuff.
Before the internet came along.
Yeah, you know.
Before the cell phone.
Before podcast. Oh shoot! You know, I didn't have a phone till 2000, and that's when it was first popular. So.
Well,
I
And I
said
Zach,
we
already had a
missed you
kid.
last week, Baldy.
What now?
I said we missed you last week.
Yeah, I was working. Yeah. Maintenance
Mr.
man never
Hard Worker.
sleeps.
well, you know, you were talking about the '80s and stuff, which there's a lot to talk about from the '80s, and especially the transition from the '80s into the '90s and up till now. But there wouldn't be much Zach would be able to talk about. He wasn't born until I graduated. High
Oh
school.
crap! Yeah, but
Oh.
everybody loves the '80s. You know, my kid, my oldest kid, she loves the '80s. All the music, probably because she only heard me playing all that her whole life. But she would much rather listen to that on the radio than her own stuff.
Let's see.
But
Hold on.
anyway, that's all.
Very cool.
Daniel, you brought up earlier, not earlier, you posted on your Facebook page there about the white Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, I went ahead and posted that for speculation. I know, and I have it for those who've seen it already. I actually added that on my YouTube channel and let everybody get a view of that because there's a lot of people that's actually never seen that, which is it's been around for a long time now. And there's been a lot of I've actually got a lot of response on. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, but a lot of people are believing it to be real because you know. And then on the other hand, some people say, "Oh, it's totally fake." Blah blah blah. I don't interact. I just wanted to get other people's opinions, and that's why I like sharing stuff like that. What made me look that one up because you had brought it up, so I was like, oh, let me go ahead and look that up.
Which one?
Check that out. The white Pennsylvania Bigfoot.
Oh,
they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, MK's got a video from a white one in Mississippi.
Who's this now?
MK Davis.
MK Davis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he caught that white one. What it was the guy who owned the two properties, one in Mississippi, one in Texas. All right, instead of using game cameras, they used security cameras that ran 24/7. That's how they're able to get all these videos, like the fence, like the long-legged fence crawler, where he stepped over a 5-foot fence. MK took and brightened up the shadow where you can see the white pad on the back of that Sasquatch on his foot pad. But he's got a lot of stuff there, but it's security cameras that are rolling 24 hours a day. And that's how he got that white
And I
one.
think
shut him off it.
I think they're both fake. I think that long-legged one and the other white one are both suits.
Well, because MK stood next to that fence.
I don't even think the other one's a suit. I think it's just a dude out there.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nikki. I've watched the fence video myself, and
yeah,
I just
he does.
I look at the movement of the person running towards the fence, and how their momentum kind of helps them step over and then back. But if
so you're
hold on, I'm not.
So you're saying that MK stood next to a 5-foot high fence. MK is 5 foot something tall, and he stood next to that fence right there where that Squatch stepped over it. That fence come up to his shoulder.
Okay, let me finish there. There's no way that fence is going to come up to his shoulder.
Yes,
I've watched the video, Fred, and the fence comes up to just below his chest, just for clarification. But let me finish. What I was saying was that if you look at the fluidity of the person running towards the fence or towards the camera on the left-hand side, you'll see how their momentum helps them carry themselves over the fence by stepping. But as you see them step over the fence, you can see the pivot, but you can also see the individual push down on the wire.
Yes, that's what I noticed.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
So size comparison, standing beside the fence when it's not pushed down. Yeah, you're going to have, a fence that comes up to, an average person's chest. I mean, hold
Yeah,
on.
well,
I've been out. I've been out on farm. Like I'm a farm boy myself, and I mean, you know, the type of fence that is in the video is the same ones that we had when I had horses. You know,
yeah,
25, 30 years ago.
yeah. Because
And you know, and
when I jump when I jump a fence and I'm running or whatever, I do the same thing. I push down on it because I don't want my nuts to hit the daggone barbed wire.
But
Right.
well,
when it comes to momentum, when it comes to the momentum, if you're running, you still have to pause and put the thing there. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen. There's some times that I don't see a lot of the stuff that comes out on Facebook about different photos here and there, whatever. I just like to be away from it actually, and then that's one thing that I don't like doing. Once in a while, I'll look at it. Yeah, I'll make a little comment once in a while, and someone, that's strange, blah blah blah. And but I never sit down there on Facebook or whatever and just see uh, different stuff on there because to me, it's like the gimbal film, the Pat Patterson film.
Oh, give me.
That's a prime example of something that's actually walking in two legs. That's a good clear picture of it. And then so the thing is, what gets me sometimes is that I know it's difficult getting a clear picture of that. And then so that's what people always say. Well, that's a tree, that's shadows, and everything like that. And there's people who go over there and circling little things. Here's a Bigfoot, whatever. But what we need to try to do. I know that that they won't let us have a clear picture of themselves sometimes, but sometimes we need to try try ourselves out there, put trail cams up there, and see what we can actually find. And if we can get an actually good, clear picture of it, that's all we're going to need. If we get all these blurry pictures and stuff like that, then people are going to say, well, it's not real, it's fake. So
I just think
I've even
the video that we were talking about. I just think that video in particular is very inconclusive. What
is
I
that the
see,
photo here? Is that over here?
That's the
This is it
video.
right here.
I
Okay.
don't see it.
what I see when I see that person,
Right.
I see a guy. I don't see anything remotely related to any kind of motion that could be mistaken for Bigfoot. We
All
all
right.
know that Bigfoot, and I'm basing this on the Patterson Gimlin footage, that Bigfoot walks with a with a certain style, a certain gait.
They
And
do. They do.
when
They
when I
walk. Well, hey, look. Let me put it this way: when a human walks, we bounce. When we run, we bounce. When a Squatch walks, he's like this. When he runs, he's like this. They keep their knees bent to a point. If you watch the Patterson Gimlin film real close, watch the walking sequence, the close up, you'll see her knees stay bent. A human's foot will go up like this and come down. Her foot only comes that high and comes down like that. So her knees stay bent.
I see this picture for the first time. That's somebody just climbing over a fence.
Yeah, that's
somebody
definitely a guy climbing over a fence. I mean, the legs are too thin.
So they have a certain way. So a Squatch has a certain way of climbing a fence.
No, they walk over it.
Yeah,
they
Bigfoot
walk over it. They don't have to bend over like that.
Yeah, your 20-foot Bigfoot there, Fred. He should be able to, like, that fence would be knee high to him.
Well, that picture right there, I mean, from what I'm looking at, from what I've watched it a million times, what I'm looking at is when you see him running, you see him cross the fence and squat and run. You see him come back squat, and then he crawls over the fence. How do you know? Because the standard step of a Squatch is longer than a human's. When you find a 24-inch print, you have an 11-foot stride. We found 24-inch tracks. We measured from the big toe of the left foot to the heel of the right foot, 11-foot stride.
Yeah, I just don't see Bigfoot when I see that fence climbing video. I see a person. There's no way that's a Bigfoot. I'm pretty firm in that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You know, even my one of my eyewitnesses went up there and actually saw one not over a fence, but over a walk over a gate
Oh
without
yeah,
no
Wow.
problems. He said.
yeah. Because you
And
got
then so that's
yeah.
so he didn't see one, he saw two, and his focus was on the big one. And he said he just it went towards the gate. It was running in full blast, stopped, and just walked over it like nothing. So the
Mhm.
thing is, again, he didn't say he put his arms down on there, swung his legs like they did here in the photo. He said he
Yeah.
walked right over it.
Well,
And
here's something.
and
I'll,
even and
oh,
even
go ahead.
Mr.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, even my eyewitnesses and Mr. Abrigo, that God bless his soul, just who passed away last year, and then he actually saw it walking on the field, and he said that the animal walked over, not put his hands over it, swung his legs over it, walked over the gate. I mean, walked over the fence like it's nothing. So the thing is, again, on this photo here, on this thing up here, he's actually has his hand down, swinging his legs over. And to me,
He,
to my eyewitnesses, it's not a characteristic who was actually on this film. And the thing
he
is, again, these,
actually turns
ma'am,
his body, stabilizes himself, and throws his leg over. That's a human
And
doing
when he
And
that.
when
then,
he when he's done climbing the fence, his back is actually to the camera.
yeah, the pivot. I think the pivot was pretty obvious too. You know, like
Yeah.
we all agree that we notice a pivot
Yeah.
as the steps. That's kind of like more or less catch your balance to stay on your feet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's a food for thought. Everybody think about this. I believe again, it's safe to say that we've all watched plenty of episodes and through the seasons of Finding Bigfoot, and we know
Right.
when they go to meet up with some of the reports, and then look at Bobo. He's 6'3", 6'4", whatever he is, and he's that's pretty tall for for a person. And even though he was in most of the video of the the episodes, he's been pretty big. Um, and so a lot of these 4.5, 5 foot fences that where people claim to have seen a Bigfoot actually easily just step over like it was nothing. He would always try to imitate it, and when I watched this fence jumper video, it reminded me exactly the way Bobo tried to step over a fence, being as tall as he was.
Yeah.
So I know that's something to think about too. Look at it's almost very similar to the way he would, and again, Bobo's pretty tall. He's taller than me. With because I know when I stood up next to him at the in Ohio at the conference up there, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm about 6 foot, and he's taller than me. So so
Anatomically speaking, this is another. It's going to be one of the other silly questions. Um, in the Patterson Gimlin footage, we see that the patty has breasts. Has there? I don't know how to put this. It's probably going to get a good laugh. But has anybody other than Peter Kane, has anybody ever? Has anybody? I think you know where I'm going with this. Has anybody ever witnessed Bigfoot with a large,
Oh no.
a large?
Yes.
Oh, Henry, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah.
Oh Christ, we're all grown-ups here. Hopefully
In
everybody at
19
this time of
hey,
hour is a grown-up.
in 1981 when I had that one step out 5 foot behind me. When I turned around, he was right in front of me, and I looked at him from his head to his feet and back up. And yes, they're just like a human.
How big was it?
Lord,
Well, you
I was
said we're
waiting
all-
for that.
you said we're all adults here, so
Pretty, hey,
Oh,
hey,
no.
pretty damn big. Let's put it to you that way. But
now
it's scary,
I ain't trying to sound like a pervert or nothing like this, right? Believe me, I'm not. How much hair did he have on it? Come on,
I
Fred.
didn't pay that much
Hey.
attention to it.
Come on, Fred.
I mean,
Come
I'm
on,
in
Honest
shock.
question.
Hey, I'm in shock. I look at him from his head down to the street and back up. I glanced, but I kept going.
Did he have it slung over his shoulder, or was it just hanging?
no, it's probably like me. It was probably because I know the problems with having something so big. I have to tie mine around my leg,
Oh,
so I'm sure he had to tie his around
Oh
his leg.
gosh.
Lord.
That toilet water's cold in the morning. I tell you.
Yeah. Hey, Kev, have you ever seen the complete Patterson-Gimlin film from start to finish?
Yes, I have.
All right. You remember when she disappears for that split second behind that tree?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay. When she pops back, she drops to all fours.
Yep.
When she drops down, her is facing the camera.
Her vagina.
Yes.
Okay.
MK did it one day, and he said, "Well, if it's fake, if it is Bill Hieronymus, since when did Bill Hieronymus make an outfit with a female vagina?" And he circled it.
He circles everything.
I know he does, but it showed the female vagina on Patty when she come up behind the tree. She went down on all fours and had her ass right facing toward the camera when he videoed it.
Mm.
What an interesting panel tonight.
Yes, very interesting.
So how big would you estimate?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Someone said,
You know
was
what?
it
People are gonna see whatever they're told it is. You know.
When he zooms it in, when he zooms it
there
in,
was a pimple on her ass, then they would see the pimple on her ass. That's just the way it is. You know, jeez.
Somebody said in the chat there, said I'd say a very intelligent male Bigfoot would be circumcised. I'd hate to see the foreskin on that thing.
All right, I had to step away for a second. I don't know how much I missed. I just jumped on and heard foreskin. So. Oh Lord, we're still talking that, huh? Okay.
Everyone got real quiet.
Well, I can tell you from watching the Patterson-Gimlin film. I hope that's the only woman I ever come across that has hair between her boobs.
I'll tell you what. Let's switch it up a little bit here. Zach Zach had posted something earlier. He said he wanted to share something that may be possible evidence. Zach, what exactly is it you're talking about?
Before I do that, I'm trying to say something. I couldn't get the word in edgewise. But I can vouch for what Fred's saying and everything, because I've come across, and I don't talk about it a whole lot because people think I'm friggin' nuts. But I went and I walked up 2 years ago on a male that had two females with him, and it looked like an uncircumcised male. I'm not kidding you.
How big was it?
That's well, I'm trying to gauge how big it was. If you're talking about that, or are you talking about the male? How big he was?
Yeah.
He was at least 8 tall. I was so close to him, I could see he had a scar on his cheek. Daniel, you've heard me talk about scar a lot, right?
Oh, yeah, I have.
That's the one I'm talking about. He's the one that I walked in on one night whenever I thought there was deer down where we'd baled the hay down behind the barn. And I looked down the hill. I was sitting up against the light pole about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I seen the eyes down there in the draw, and I walked down there to run what I thought was deer out, and then one stood up, and I kicked the high beam on my headlamp, and there was one looking at me. He had a scar down his right cheek. That was the ones I walked in on whenever they was mating.
Oh Lord!
Oh my, that's a new one.
Bigfoot porn.
Oh my.
Laugh all you want. I know what I saw.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm not doubting. Were they doing it doggy style or?
That's a good question.
It was no, like if you've seen how chimps mate, that's basically what they was doing.
Okay.
There was a guy 3 years ago.
But the other thing that Daniel was talking about that I posted here, I don't know. I put this up against a piece of paper. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I found this on right on my property in my research area back August. It was end of August, first part of September. Me and my cousin Dwayne was out squirrel hunting, and he's the one that found it, not me. And this was on the top strand of our barbed wire fence, and we got 5-strand barbed wire running all the way around the perimeter of our property. And I'm 5'9", and that the top strand of barbed wire comes right up across the top of my sternum where my breastbone is. And it was right there, and he said, "What do you reckon that is?" I said, "I don't know, but I took it home with me, and this is what I found." And I know you can see it's all primarily black, but there is some silver and some white in it. And I know it wasn't no cow hair, because this was still really relatively fresh. You know, like fresh cut hair, it's kind of got a soft texture to it. It was still soft whenever I pulled it off that barbed wire. And we hadn't had our cattle in that paddock for nearly 2 months.
Does that look like the hair that boy had at the conference?
To me, looking at it through here, it sure does.
Yeah.
And for the record, anybody, I know I haven't been asked about it in a while, but I still have not sent it off yet. That's why I have not got results back yet. But
Zach,
looking at that, it does look similar to that.
Yeah,
it really does.
You remember that boy had that big clump of gray hair over next to
me and Baltimore went and examined it.
Yeah, is that what it looks like? Does it look similar to that?
Very similar.
Okay.
And you can, but I did what Baltimore told me about how you move it underneath the light, and you can see different hues in the color. It stayed solid black.
Yeah, because Baltimore did something with his phone down there one day when I was standing next to him, and he zoomed in on that hair, that one piece of hair, real good, and he come up with some weird. It was weird how the phone. What do you call that, Baltimore, that you did with your phone?
I just what I did was actually moved it a little bit and let the light hit it just right, and you could actually see the different hair. Like turn into that golden yellow.
Yeah.
I mean, orangish color.
Yeah.
And you did just move it with the light, more or less what a turkey does when the sun hits it just right.
Yeah.
You can see that bronze color. So all that you do, just move it a little bit and to see exactly what kind of colors.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna show you what I got real quick.
All right, because when a week after we saw that hair at the conference, me and Connie went to that area, which was only 8 miles away from it. And we got 2 squatches on video, and one of them had long black hair like that. So, and we was to the left of that private property. We didn't go on the property. We stayed on the park trail. You've been there before, ain't you, Daniel?
Where's this at now?
It's up there in Augusta Springs, the bird sanctuary.
Oh, yeah. I haven't actually been in that part. I've been in other spots up beyond there.
Okay.
That large tuft of hair I got came just a couple miles up the road.
Okay. If you take and park right there and you follow that wooden plank all the way around and you go up so far and you take a right, there's a trail that goes all the way around it. And the hair come from the right side of that property up on there, about a mile away up in there or something like that.
I got a question for the hair sample there. Are there any horses or donkeys or anything up in that area, or have there been?
There is, but not close to where I found this. What's right there in that area is primarily my cattle and the whitetail population, because my neighbor, he has just a little bit of a wildlife hunting club that he's got that borders my property. And but it was still muddy and everything. If there was any kind of tracks where it could have been a horse on my property, or mule, or jackass, donkey, whatever you want to call them, there was no hoof prints right there. It was all washed out. There was because it rained earlier that morning. We got caught in a pretty heavy downpour when we went out to go squirrel hunting, and whatever tracks would have been there was washed away, but the hair sample was still clinging on the barb. And but the closest horses that there is would be my neighbor. But where I found this hair at was right on the edge of a big cornfield, My neighbor, he's got 2 or 3 jackasses, but it's on the very south end of my property, about a half mile from where I found this hair sample. And then my neighbor, Junior Edwards, he's got horses, but he's sold them all about a week ago. But they are Palominos and paints, so they got gold and white colored manes and tails. And then my other neighbor that has 2 or 3 jackasses, they live about 2 miles down the road here. So no, only thing that being big enough in that area was cattle and whitetail. But my cattle hadn't been in that paddock where we was at, because we move them out of there for people to go in there and rabbit hunt and squirrel hunt, and there hadn't been any rabbit or no cattle in that paddock for the past 2 months leading up to whenever I found this.
Can you do me a favor? Can just humor me? Can you take that Ziploc bag that you've got with the hair in it? Just open it up. Don't touch it, but can you open it up and take a big whiff? Tell me what you smell.
And let me state this for the record for anybody.
Smells like it's a little hint of BO to it. Kind of like a salty, sweaty smell.
Well, before you say anything else, I'm gonna tell you right now. How long have you had it in that plastic bag? Because that's kind of a big no-no.
Yeah, you got to put it in paper. You got to put it in paper.
Exactly.
Well, it's December now, and I've had it since about end of August, first part of September.
It ain't no good then.
The put it in plastic for a little while is okay, but till you can transfer it. But yeah, when it comes to forensics, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of us not really experts in this kind of thing, but to do enough research on this, you want to keep things in paper, because plastic, something like that, could create and develop other contaminations, condensations, moisture, and et cetera, et cetera.
Off gases from the chemicals in the plastics.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, that's one thing I want to say. If you could transfer that to a paper and let it sit in there, because, if that's ever obtained any kind of moisture or anything there, it's going to develop all kinds of contamination.
Well, it would have had human DNA, because when my cousin pulled it off the barbed wire, he used his bare hands to pull it off.
That's another thing. Yeah.
Now,
See,
if a DNA, go ahead.
I got called in from Goliad to a little town just little east of, west of B County, and they actually called me about a footprint. So I went up there and I looked at this footprint, and I actually wrote a note on this thing up here. This was the track, how the long and the width it was, 18 by 19 inches. And the thing is, again, it didn't have no toes or nothing like that on it, because it rained so bad. So I said, you know what? For shits and giggles, excuse my French, I'm going to cast it. And so I cast it and everything, and then I examined the barbed wire fence. So what I did so I actually got some hair samples from the barbed wire fence, but on this turned out to be a little bit blonde, a little bit more finer in there. So once I got the hair samples and everything like that, I had my little tweezers that I use and everything like that, my gloves, my rubber gloves, and I pulled everything out and I put them inside these little bags. And then so I wrote a little note on them about the little history about the hair that I found on there. As soon as I got these from my house, I stuck them straight into the freezer, which they have been till now. So, and I'm not going to. And a friend of mine gave me an address, which I'm not going to share, or this is for my personal use. And it's not to get DNA from these things here. It's not going to be here in the United States. It's going to be actually going to be in Canada. So like that, they could send me exactly what they found here. So it's always real good to have it on paper. Always get prepared at all times, because you never know what kind of samples you're going to find out there. This could possibly could be a cow or a horse. I just don't know. But the thing is, again, I saw the footprint there. What's the odds of this being a Bigfoot here? At least there's a slight chance on it, but it's a gamble that I'm willing to take. So I ain't saying it is, I ain't saying it isn't, but it's for the experts to decide. I found a track there, Oh, I don't, and we're gonna find out here in a few more months to see what I come up with.
Cool.
I'm not in a big rush. I'm just taking my time. And if I was in I want to get these things right away. No, it's just like a Christmas present. I want to send them off when I'm good, ready to send them off, and when it comes back, and if it comes out to unknown primate, I will definitely let you all know.
Nice. Well, another thing too, keep in mind, like Zach, you mentioned that the person that found it, handled it with their bare hands. The thing is too, I think every lab that does testing, I think they vary, but a lot of them depends on how advanced they are. I believe it's safe to say that a lot of labs would not, I'll say a lot, but not all, have that advanced technology or the advanced system where they are able to abstract and separate contamination. To remove contamination, depending on how much work they're going to, I guess, putting into trying to find the results.
I think, Daniel, the term you're looking for is washing. They can wash the human DNA contamination
right
from the sample.
Exactly. And like I said, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what labs have that capability of, to do that. There's only a couple that I can think of right offhand, but they're like big time, So,
all right, guys, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go to bed. So I got a big day tomorrow.
Well, absolutely. I think we're going to call it a night, ladies and gentlemen. Ourselves. It is past. We've gone past 2 hours on here, and it's been a great discussion. We had, and I thanked Taylor before he jumped off. But I want to thank him again. It's the North Carolina Squatch Watchers. They invited a good portion of their subscribers to here, and I'm going to tell you what. I'll tell you in just a second. I went from 1,600 to 1,631. I'm not lying. 1,631 subscribers up to 1,680. I mean, talk about a large jump in one segment. I mean, that's awesome. I want to thank the Squatch Watchers. And for those who don't know, Squatch Watchers are also one of our listed speakers for the 2019 event. So come on out to Virginia and meet the Squatch Watchers, Taylor and Dayton, the whole crew, David and all the rest of them. So, and we had a great time tonight. We had some fun. Everything was serious, and then, like I mentioned on the live chat to the others that were listening, we'd love to have a good time and have a laugh. And so
I like to lighten it up a bit.
Oh yeah. So we had some fun, and I know the viewers, the listeners enjoyed it as well. So but till next time, next Friday night, we start at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget tomorrow night, Zach. Are we still on for tomorrow night at 8?
Hell yes.
All right. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to tune in. If you're not subscribed to Zach, go ahead and subscribe over there to him now. Because tomorrow night, 8 p.m., we go live with Geek Squatch episode 3. So,
if I could just take a moment to wish everybody a happy holiday season. Have a safe New Year's Eve, and that goes out to my American friends and Canadian listeners out there. I hope everybody has a good time, and just stay safe.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And same goes for the rest of you guys. Happy New Year's. And be safe this weekend. Watch out for the crazy drivers out there. So
thanks for having me.
Yeah, I might be one of them. So
thanks for having me on the panel, Daniel. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm going to try to, like I said, I got the Facebook group chat, where I'll try to share everybody the link like I did. Nikki, I've been having to send her the link directly. I used to have to do Zach the same way, but Zach's been able to get on here through the regular link, which is cool. So
it's because I quit going and doing it on my phone. I started doing it on my laptop.
Oh, so it works better that way. Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, I'm glad that's working out for you. So I'm sure you find it a lot easier too. So, so all right, guys. Well, you guys have a good night and keep it squatchy. So, all right, and we're going